Welcome to the Unscripted SEO Interview Podcast. Yes, it's 100% unscripted, 100% unrehearsed, 100% unedited, and 100% real. Well, my guest today is somebody that's built a 9-figure online business empire using SEO and calls himself a digital landlord. So today I want to get to understand on how on earth you do that. Please welcome James Dooley.
How you doing, Mark? You all right?
Very well, thanks. Just for the people in the audience and listening to this who doesn't know who you are, could we start with you just giving us a very brief whirlwind tour of where you started to where you are now? Then after that, we can dive into it a bit deeper, please.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So started out in the SEO kind of space about 12 years ago, something like that, 13 years ago, I think it is. I was in construction as a project manager, and I needed a website for our own business, and quickly started to realize that a website without SEO is kind of pointless. And quickly had to learn the hard way of how to do SEO. And that's kind of how it all evolved. I realized that right at the very, very start of my career that I trying to ring out to try and get people and try and get new sales wasn't the best way of running a business. I needed to try to build a consistent flow of inbound quality inquiries. And knowing that, that's kind of how everything now evolved with what we did. We do a lot of lead generation. Some people call it like a rank and rent model, but it's still mainly lead generation. But some businesses like the rank and rent model, so they know each month how much they're paying. And obviously, with it being digital real estate and renting of the properties, that's where the term digital landlord came from.
Right, wonderful. I was going to say that just to put it in context, how big is your digital real estate?
So in total, we've got, I think it's over 70 million web pages online. There's over 800 different paying. I think we've got about 1,300 different websites, over 800 different paying kind of the 500 maybe we haven't monetized yet. About 800 we have monetized. There is over 600 different industries and niches that we're in.
Wow. And how big of a team do you have to actually scale to that level and maintain it?
Well, it is a big team, to be fair. It's not easy. I wouldn't recommend going as big as what we've done, if I'm being 100% honest. I never really set out to have like what people are calling an SEO empire or digital estate empire as big as what it is now. But things are just, one thing's led on to something else. One client said, "Oh, I've got a friend here who's a director of a company and they want lead generation and these want lead generation." It's just, before we knew it, it's just kind of evolved. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's been a very successful journey. But now in total, we own a call center as well. So we've got over 100 staff in the call center that do quite a lot of sales for our existing leads of what we're generating. Because it sounds daft, this, Mark, but if you've got a mortgage broker and you're generating leads for a mortgage broker and they're on the phone and they might have another mortgage broker in their office, if you're generating them 10 leads an hour, they can't deal with the volume. So, and people go, "Well, that's a good problem to have." Well, it kind of is and it isn't, because if 8 of your leads aren't being dealt with and they go elsewhere and they're not converting, you've wasted those leads. So we then started to realize that we need like an overflow call center that could take the leads in if our clients couldn't deal with them. So if it's rang like 4 or 5 times and they're not answering, they're probably on a call. Our overflow call center will take it, get the fact find, get the information, get everything of what they need. And then we kind of turn it from a cold web lead into a hot lead. Because now obviously we've spoken to them. We've realized, yes, they do fit the remit of what, let's say, the mortgage broker wants. We try and get like what they're looking for, with how much they're willing to pay, what disposable income they've got, whether they're working or not, and if we've got any existing money in the existing kind of property and stuff like that. So it's turned into a much bigger operation than what we thought. In SEO, we've got 11 in Wilmslow in South Manchester. And each one of them, I tried to have that each one of them are allowed up to 10 virtual assistants. So that makes it like 110. I don't think we're at the 110 virtual assistants. I think it kind of varies between 80 to 100. But each one of them could be like a graphic designer, a videographer, content writer, technical SEO, just varied roles of what's needed in different industries.
Right. So all these various people you have at the higher level, do they all work together, or do they have their own silo businesses they work on?
So that's a great question. So when they first started out, when I first started out in about 2 years in, I realized that I needed obviously staff to help me with what I did. And what started to happen was I would go out and try to find SEO experts or SEO gurus to come in and work for us. And these people that had 3-4 years experience with SEO, that claimed that there was an SEO guru, came in, didn't really know anything. And it was very, very difficult to train, because I always use the saying is you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So we went down the route then of the apprenticeship route in the UK. It's cheap for labour, and I thought if I can get someone raw coming out of college or university, I can train them up my way. Roll on now, a lot of them now have been with me 9 or 10 years. Now 6 of them that we've taken on as being apprentices are all directors of the company now. So the directors, they've all got their own assets and built up their own they can work on their own, but also they've all got their own speciality. So like one of them might be very good at quality content. So there might be a good editor, good at onboarding new content writers, training up the content writers. But if I ask them to do backlinks, then they wouldn't be able to do it, because it's a completely different part of the brain. One's a creative part of the brain, where backlinks is more mathematical. You're living in sheets and you're living in data, and obviously the link builders then are completely separate to the content, but they'll all help each other out. So yes, they all help each other out within the business, but they've all got their own projects going on as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you think it's important for people to have an entrepreneurial mindset, or an understanding of the business and business impact of what they're doing?
So I would actually say no, right? But hear me out on this. So like, I feel within a business, you need some people, that the entrepreneurs with the mindset that's forward thinking, innovative and looking to grow. Maybe 1 or 2 people underneath there that are maybe entrepreneurs, like an entrepreneur that's working inside of the business. But apart from that, you need some doers. You don't want people to keep thinking about new things and thinking I'm going to do this and think. You need some people that are just, this works, let's crack on and let's do it. Now, if you've got too many entrepreneurs, too many cooks spoil the broth, so to speak. So I feel like not all of them need to be entrepreneurs. I feel you need to try to make certain you've got a blended mix of staff, that some just want to get in and work hard and finish at 5 and go home, and that's fine. You need some of them within the business, but you do need some of them that are like you've had Kazra on before. So Kazra now, he's got a lot of partnerships with me with like his own assets and stuff. But Kazra was initially taken on by myself as a web designer, and then I trained him up with everything that he did. And obviously he is an entrepreneur, so he has kind of elevated himself into building loads of his own assets. But initially I took him on as a web designer, and then he's kind of blossomed into building up his own kind of lane there that's been really successful.
Right. So for you personally, how has your SEO knowledge evolved, and how has that happened for you?
So failing so many times. So I actually was on a podcast yesterday, and the guy's known me for quite a while, and he says, do you know what I love about you, Dooley? And I said, go on, what? He says, you're a hardened SEO. I said, what do you mean by that? He says, you've had so many scars from the peaks and the troughs of the growth of what's happened. He says, you're quite straight talking. You've had all the scars. You understand it. And some of these new SEOs that are coming along that don't really know, and probably the next algorithm update might get a big hit, are they going to be able to bounce back and like reverse engineer what's happened? So you'll know yourself, Mike, you're you're a quality SEO. You understand knowing what you're doing throughout everything of what you, of like how long you've been in the industry, you know what works. And you'll know very well when I say how much Google's evolved. Like from back in the day when it used to be keyword stuffing, white text on a white background, content behind images, spamming it with GSA and loads of other kind of spammy link building techniques. The whole algorithm has evolved massively. And actually what's happened is I at one point I would probably say I was in the remit of almost even Black Hat, because Black Hat seemed to work the best. Your keyword stuff, you build links and you scale it out. The truth of the matter is Google's done a very good job of now ranking real businesses within like Google search. I'm now one of the cleanest white hats you'll ever meet. Like everything that I do is I try to get backlinks, but I try to naturally acquire backlinks. So I'm trying to write articles that are surveys, data driven. So when they do rank, people want to link back to that or cite the source and it links back to the website. All my content that I write, I genuinely want it to be the best quality content that there is out there. So if my writer's not proud of what they've done, don't write it. You need to think that article is the best it can be. And then have you covered the topic in its entirety? Have you gone out of your way to cover every single topic around what you wanted to talk about? And that's what Google wants. Google wants a good user experience. And I feel like I've gone from the Black Hat stages of trying to create shortcuts into being, actually, I'm just going to do what Google asks for and just do it right, scale a good quality team, get them to be proud of what they're doing, and you're going to get long-term rankings. Instead of it being a short-term win, now you're going to get the long-term sustainable rankings.
Right. Just for full context here, and we're having an open conversation, perception sometimes can mislead people into thinking, and I'm not going to lie to you, my outdated perception of you, of what you did, was pure, unrelated Black Hat, manipulation, everything. Now, it's good to have conversations like this to understand the real you. And I just want to get into your mind. What happened at the stage when you moved over the line from like doing Black Hat to, well, let's do it properly now?
So first and foremost, that's a good question, Matt, because I've used the term Black Hat to yourself and I've used the word white hat. The truth of the matter is my hat has never felt like, even though I've said it was Black Hat and white hat, because I understand that's how the SEO people talk, I've just always had money hat, right? So all what I've ever done is done what works in Google, right? So back in the day when we was ranking #1 for really big casino terms and finance terms, I couldn't have done that back then with clean white hat strategies. It just didn't work. So as much as Google tried to tell you that just build good quality content and the links will come, was incorrect information. So if I could manipulate, whether it was CTR or I could manipulate links, I only did it because it worked. And that's it. I just did what generated me the most leads, or what I thought got me to #1 in Google. And I just seen it as a game to get #1 in Google. I did nothing illegal. I did no hacking of websites or anything like that, which in my opinion, that's Black Hat, right? Where you're hacking sites and you're doing things at the detrimental of somebody else. I think that's bang out of order, and I'd never do anything like that. But trying to buy links that I thought would move the needle and get me ranking #1, or running like traffic through, and some of it was, when I say traffic manipulation, it was like PPC or Facebook ads or Twitter ads, or at the time you could leverage like Pinterest traffic really, really cheap. So I'd just get loads and loads of traffic through to the pages, and that traffic would boost the site up. So is that Black Hat, or is it just being clever with what works? And that's kind of where I was. But then what I started to realize was, for long-term sustainable rankings, Stop cutting corners. Yes, that traffic spike from Pinterest, it still works okay. It's costly. I'd cheap out on the content. And why not just build the best quality content that there is so the user has the best user experience? Stop trying to monetize every single page that you build. Some pages aren't there to be monetized. Some are there just for informational value. Hopefully you can send them through the funnels, the internal links to a more monetary term, but you don't need to monetize everything. Give the user what they want of like, so if you let's say, prime example, if you're a carpet cleaning company, write some articles of how to clean red wine off your carpet and stuff like that. Give the people the information of what they need, even give them products to say, this product works really well to clean red wine off the carpet. However, if you want a professional to come and do it for you, fill in the form, and then it goes to a carpet cleaning company. So we've just gone down that route, and I don't feel like there was ever a crossing the line. I've just always done what I think works. And nowadays, I feel good quality content, topical authority, and trying to get natural type of backlinks is what gives you the most sustainable long-term rankings.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But where do you stand, or what's your thought process, or do you have any thoughts when it comes to Google guidelines?
The truth of the matter is, the minute you read the Google guidelines, you will be doing stuff to, not saying manipulate Google, but you would be doing stuff to anyone that does SEO pretty much goes against Google guidelines, because you're doing stuff. It's not just for yes, you're trying to do stuff for the user, but you're adding certain keywords to a page to try and rank it so that the users can see it. So my thoughts are, there's times where Google comes out and says stuff, and sometimes they shoot themselves in the foot because they just say things that they know is not true. And the SEO industry knows that certain things are not true. And it's just frustrating at times. Now, I get it that they're a business, and what they've got to try to do is like support and kind of make certain that people aren't manipulating mass Like, I think the biggest problem they've got now, for being 100% honest, is AI. Yeah. I feel like the mass creation of content. And what I mean by that is you've got to think of Google. Google does care about the search and the search results. But realistically, the two biggest things that they care about is PPC, getting paid, and display ads and getting paid. So, but now, all these new pages that are coming along, Google's processing power, people are now creating, instead of creating an article a day, they're creating 100 articles a day. And Google's got to try and now crawl all these articles. So they've got some serious problems with regards to how are they going to manage to find, crawl, score, and index each of these pages. So it's difficult, and they've come out saying that they're all right with AI. Deep down, I don't think they are. I think they're scared, if I'm being honest. I don't think they'll come out saying it because they're using AI within their own algorithm. So it'll be a bit hypocritical if they say, we don't like AI, but we use AI. So I don't know. I don't want to talk badly of the guidelines, but I still just try to do what works. And I think most SEOs just generally try to, for their clients, is try to rank their website number one to get the traffic and hopefully be able to pay the wages and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of SEO.
What's your thoughts on it? What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, well, a lot of SEOs are confused, right? Yeah. My personal thoughts are stripping it right back to how Google generate their income is with ads, right? They're not going to do anything that jeopardizes their ad revenue, or else it'd be suicidal, business suicide. Now, just in my own head, I'm thinking that what will be impacted are phrases and topics that Google don't make any money on with ads, right? I think that the content and the topics and the keywords Google actually make the money on with the ads are still going to be very much a focus. I'm going to think all these other things around that they don't make money on ads are the things that the AI is just going to answer themselves, if it rolls out. And that's my own personal feeling, just because I've stripped it right back to the business of Google. And I mean, they're not going to shoot themselves in the foot and lose revenue.
Yeah.
So
are you on about there for SGE? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I'm on about SGE now, because that's what the industry's scared of.
I completely agree. And do you know why I think that will be, Mike? I think what they're trying to do is they're going to try and answer questions. So when you've got a question which might be top of the funnel that no one's willing to bid on, they're going to try and answer that as quickly as they can. Then within SGE, what happens? There's 5 other questions that pop up going, you might also want to know this, and this. And they're trying to very quickly answer whatever you might want to be wanting to know to get you down the funnel. And the minute you answer that bit and that bit, to click on to the next question, which could be, what's the best product for this? Bam, now you've got the ads. So they're just trying to quickly get you from an informational term where they don't make money on down to, boom, now we can show ads and now we can get paid. And now as a business, we're going to earn more money out of it. So yes, I completely agree. I do worry for some people that build out. There's certain people out there from a monetary value, and they only build out tens of thousands of pages on the site, and they're all how-to guides and calculators. They're all these informational type posts. And what they do is they just fill it with display ads, like where it's Ezoic, AdThrive, Mediavine, and Google AdSense, and they're filling it with all the ads, and that's how they get paid. And some of them have done really well. Some of them have earned £150,000 a month from doing it, right? Which is not to be frowned upon. It's like, bloody hell, that's good. That's a nice wage for them doing it. But I think a lot of that traffic's going to get lost when SGE fully rolls out, because the AI is going to answer it. The AI is going to create a calculator that everything's going to get answered. So they're not going to get the clicks. The only thing that puts me off that might not happen is they do make quite a bit of money as well, which people forget about, on Google AdSense, like their display ad network. So I still feel they might still give quite a few of the clicks to these sites, but then will they try to start favouring their own for Google AdSense as opposed to Ezoic or AdThrive or Mediavine? I don't know. I don't think that they will, because I don't know. It's a different. I've heard some people say that they might do, but we'll have to see on that. Mind
you, for AdSense to earn money for them, the websites themselves has to be generating traffic.
Yeah.
So it's just a vicious circle, really. And it's how, as you said, with AI and content, and people are just pumping stuff out.
Yeah.
In essence, which content do you use that answer it properly? I mean, the problem is, I personally think that people are just pumping out what's already out there. If you're not adding value to what's already out there, you've got no chance.
And not only that, mate, is that the people that are pumping the stuff that's already out there, they're actually being taught by these SEO gurus to write correlated copycat content. So like it's actually being the tools that people are using. They're not adding any new value, like you just said. So like they've got an information gain patent that's out there, and the patent basically turns around saying, what are you providing that's additional to what we've already got? So all these people that are obsessed with correlation tools, so you're obsessed with copying what's already there? Well, imagine Google. If I'm sat in Google headquarters and someone clicks on a number 1 result and they don't like what number 1 result says, but number 2 result just copies what number 1 result says because I've correlated my content against them. If I didn't like what number 1 said, I'm not going to like what number 2 says, or number 3 says, or number 4 says. So they've got to try and combat that. And that's what SEOs have started to do, is just be obsessed with correlated content. And now Google got a massive problem. So now Google have got to put these wildcards in of specifically, like if someone's done a really good review about a brand, they've almost got to try and throw in a one that's talking badly about the brand to try to combat that they're showing different answers and different results. Because if you don't like number one and it's all correlated, you're not going to rank them, you're not going to like the rest of them.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, the search page has just been mixed up all over the place lately.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I was noticing you got, 4 ads, then 2 organic, then the map pack, and also answers that, I mean, they're just mixing everything up at the moment, just seeing what works. And I think they're just trying to work it out.
Yeah, for sure. It's changing all the time.
But I mean, I totally agree with what you're saying here. But for me, I've always thought like this because I, obviously not on your scale, but I have in the past built 120 sites doing the lead generation business thing. And I made quite a bit of money. Unfortunately, I was stupid and decided to open an agency and lost it all. But that's a different story. But even back then, my focus wasn't how can I get this content ranking? It's how can I drive lead? What do I need to say on this page to drive that lead? And it just so happened that what I was saying, Google liked.
Yeah.
And I think that the focus in some of the cases is they're a step behind. They're just thinking, how can I get stuff ranked? They're not thinking about the purpose of the content. And like you, I mean, if all you did is thought about how can I get stuff ranked, well, you probably wouldn't be generating as much revenue as you are.
No, definitely not. No. And then that's what you're talking about, like the user journey and stuff like that. And why are they actually searching for that term? And you almost got to have in your head, what couple of questions did they have before it and what couple of questions they're going to have after it, and try to help them guide through what they need. Because not only that is that something that we've got something that transformed our business was we had two things that not many people have, right? We've got our own in-house testing team, right, that debunks all SEO myths. And trust me, there's so many out there, it's unbelievable. But some people go up on stage and just rehash what other people say that was working 8 years ago that no longer is now. So we've got our own in-house testing team, which is consistently breaking the SERP, pushing the boundaries and seeing what works. And then we've also got people that are just literally doing all of our SOPs and processes and just making them more concise. So if we've got like a 16-step guide to how to build citations, could we make that a 12-step guide instead of a 16-step guide? If we've got a 30-minute video of training on keyword research, could we make that 25 minutes? And it goes, well, you're only saving 5 minutes. Yeah, but we're saving 5 minutes times 100 staff. And now it starts to kind of everything now when we take somebody on, it used to take us about 4 months to train somebody up in, not in all of SEO, but like in something to be an expert in one part of SEO. It used to take about 4 months. And now it takes about 8 or 9 weeks. So we kind of got it right in almost half the amount of time from what it used to be to where it is now. So we can quickly get through onboarding new staff, training them up, getting them in the lane, scaling it, and then scaling it. And that's what's worked really well for us.
Yeah, I really want to understand a bit more about your testing team, because that just like, whoa, something that excites me, because if you don't test stuff, you don't know if it works. So what's their day-to-day look like?
So that's every single day is different. Every single day is different. So and there's times where they've got a lot of work on and I come in like a bull in a china shop. Oh, we need to test this and we need to test that and stuff like that. So every single day is different. Obviously, the algorithms are consistently evolving. So like what we used to test, if you think of it, what we did testing, and let's say 8 months ago, we could say this, and this works. But then when a new algorithm update comes along, we've got to retest everything again to see, is it still as prominent as what it could be? Now, we've got, we're tracking, I think it's 1.6 million keywords in total. So soon as something's happening with regards to any sort of like discrepancies with rankings that have gone up and gone down, not just our own sites, even though we've got a lot of data for our own sites, we're consistently tracking what's happened here, what's happened there. And it could be anything from page speed, silo structure, over optimization of like keywords on the page, not got enough topical authority, over optimization of backlinks, toxicity, lacking in the EEAT signals. And there's so many things that if I'm being 100% honest, Mark, there's two bits up until this year, maybe the end of last year. I thought personally that these two things was just SEO myths. One of them was disavows and one of them was EEAT, right? And I thought it was just a sales pitch for people to come in and sell, we'll do a disavow. And I'm like, I've never needed a disavow. And I've got hundreds and hundreds of websites. So this is garbage. This is rubbish. And then I got a penalty, a manual action penalty last year. And I was like, whoa, what even is this? So I looked into it further, and you do like a reconsider. I don't know if you've ever done one, but you have to do like a reconsideration request to Google within Google Search Console. So the more we started digging into it, I started to think, wait a minute, this could start rolling out more. And I own a lot of websites. So me being kind of entrepreneurial, I'm like, who's the best person in the world that does disavows? And in my opinion, the best person in the world that does disavows is Rick Lomas. He's like seen as being the godfather of disavows and kind of getting sites back from link penalties. So I went and met Rick Lomas, and at the time, Rick Lomas had gone through a bit of a traumatic time. His wife had died and stuff like that. And he was kind of saying, look, if I'm being 100% honest, I've got a daughter. I want to spend more time with my daughter. And I said, look, I want to get into this more. So he says, I'll train you up. And I said, I'll give him royalties. Now, we do majority, he still does some, but we do majority of Rick Lomas's disavows. And it's only now I start to see, but I was never in the market for that. Every single week, manual action penalties being distributed out. And obviously they're coming to us to kind of fix the problems. And we're doing the reconsideration request back to Google. And actually, when you've done one, you'll know if you've done one. Yeah. When you go back to them, if they feel you've still got, one, if you've not tried to outreach to get rid of the links, they don't kind of revoke it. And two, if you don't disavow all what they see as being the toxic links, they'll come back and give you some examples. And sometimes these examples of links, there could be a DR65 site that's getting traffic that on the naked eye, when you look at it, looks like a good site. It's getting traffic and it's a DR65 site. You're going, why is that toxic? And then when you actually then only start to dig a bit deeper and uncover, the last 5 posts that they've done, they link to casino, they link to CBD, they link to finance, and you go, this is just a glorified PBN. And then that's when you then start to uncover and see stuff. So the R&D team for that has been huge. And we've pushed the boundaries on what's needed and what's not needed for disavows. There's so many people, even without manual action penalties, that are sat in a partial penalty where they might be held back slightly. It could be held back 2 or 3 positions across the whole site because they're above a toxicity threshold. And I never knew about it. And sometimes there's a classic saying, you don't know what you don't know. Mm. And I always thought, I've never been penalised. And there's times we've done proactive disavows and seen big jumps and we've gone, wow, we was being held back. No messaging, Google Search Console, nothing. And we've had the jumps. And we're like, wow, we didn't know that. So that was one bit. And then the other one was, I used to see like Income School and 1 or 2 of us talk about EAT. And I used to be like, maybe is this just another pitch for SEOs to sell EAT and stuff? And then we got a penalty at the start of the year. We had a Google News site that was talking about finance. So we do a little bit of lead generation on like pensions, equity release and stuff like that. And we got a penalty, a manual action penalty in Google Search Console for author transparency. And I was like, what even is this? And it's a manual action penalty called author transparency. And then from there, then we started to realize, hold on a minute, EEAT is a thing. And we've started to dig deep into that now and making certain that, do you know what? Like, you can't really make any money out of EAT as a service, but just getting those foundations of having an About Us page, having a Meet the Team page. And I know that you're probably going to laugh at this because you'll just say that's what you should have always done. But just be like a real business. Do you know what I mean? Like, have an About Us a page, a Meet the Team page, a privacy policy page, a cookie policy page, have an email address, a telephone number, an address on your website, so that if you didn't like something that was on your site, or you'd used an image and it was copyright infringement, can they easily get hold of you? Because if they can't easily get hold of you, what's going to start happening is they're going to start trying to take it further, not being able to get hold of you. It's going back to your server and your hosting. And it's just, Google want to know who's behind the website, both what author's written the article and are they an expert in what they're talking about, and what business is behind the whole site. And you'll laugh and go, that's what you should have always done. But sometimes you're busy building out sites, you don't see the wood from the trees. And this is what I'm on about with regards to, I now just become like a clean white hat SEO that just does all things. And I probably go belt and braces. I do like an EDI policy, a modern slavery policy. I go overkill, but I just go, I'd sooner tick every box, and it might cost me £10 to get a modern slavery policy done. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing, but for 200 quid to get all the policies done and put them on your website, you know your belt and braces then. You know they can't come back to you saying you don't look like a real business. We are a real business. We've got a real address. We've got a real telephone number. If you want to ring it, one of my staff will answer. We've got an email address. We've got a Meet the Team page with who's going to answer the calls, because like on some of the lead gen sites, we'll put the clients on the site of who's going to be answering it. So when they can see, if they wanted to see the Meet the Team, Matt Preston's going to answer it for SEO in Preston, and they answer it and they go, hi, and you go, hi, it's Matt Preston. They kind of know who you are already. They've got that message match. So it's good for conversion as well. So it's not just for Google, it's for the user. And sometimes you're probably going to laugh at me because you'll say, well, I already knew all that. And I'm like, maybe I was just a little bit naive in where I was going with the business, in trying to manipulate Google and not think about the user. But now, yeah, we're a lot more about, okay, can we have these behavioral signals where people are going to stay on the site longer, they're going to return to the site, they're going to like the site, they're going to have a good user experience about the site, and just do things for the user. But by doing that, you kind of winning with Google, because Google says, oh, you're giving good behavioral signals. So
yeah, there's been an awful lot of sites hit over the past couple of months. But what's your thoughts about some affiliate marketers who are trying to fake all these signals instead of just putting on what's real? You know, like I'm seeing a lot of sites. Is it right? Okay, I've been here. I've ticked this box. We've put this persona on, but they're not real people or real avenues.
I don't think it's the right thing to do, for being honest. Like, I think, and I know people who's listening to this might not like me saying this, but if I go and create a site with a fake persona, and you can reverse engineer, reverse image look up that person, or how many times is Mark Preston been mentioned online, and are you an expert about dishwashers, right? And if you're not, and you've not written, and there's nobody else who's mentioned anything about how you, not, I mean, you don't even need to be an expert about dishwashers. You could be, are you an electrician? Have you ever serviced them? Have you ever repaired them? Or at least, has Mark Preston opened up some of these boxes and done an unboxing and seen to be used one of these dishwashers? No. Right. Well, if you've not, I think Google's done very a good thing by, do you know what? You've probably not bought them 10 best washing machines. You've not bought all 10. You've not used all 10. All what you've done is sorted by who pays the highest affiliate commissions, who pays the lowest affiliate commission. And no disrespect, you deserve to be slapped. You deserve it, because you've not got a real business. You've not got a real telephone number. You've not got a real email address. You're not a real person. And you know what? You've not even bought them 10 dishwashers. So for that reason, in my opinion, and I know it sounds harsh, you deserve it. And I think Google's done a good job, and affiliates won't like me saying that, but how can they start giving one person's, this made-up person, James Fitzgerald is an expert in washing machines. No, you're not. Like, you're not an expert in it. So why should people listen to that? And people are moaning that Reddit and Quora have come up. At least Reddit and Quora might have 10 different people negotiating which one they think's best. And it's 10 real people that are at least arguing with, well, I bought this Flymo 269 and I think it's better than the Flymo 270. And I think that this lawnmower is better than that one but I'm using it I'm on a farmer's field. Do you know what I mean? Like, at least you're getting different people's opinions as opposed to Mark Preston, who's done 10 washing machines and just gone, yeah, these are really good. Yeah, these are really good. Yeah, these are really good. And all 10 of them saying that they're all great. No unit, and they're using kind of the same stock images as what everybody else is using. And you're just like, come on, get a grip. Do you think what's your thoughts on it, Mike? Do you think that they deserve to rank?
Well, no. The thing is, if you're trying to make something look real, then you're going to get found out.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest example of a story I heard is somebody just took a random image of someone that was actually well known for something, and they found out and they got a massive copyright hit. That's a totally different scenario. But the thing is that, for me, if you're looking for a certain thing, you want to know that, well, if you're going to buy from that site, are they trustworthy? Do I want to open my wallet for them? Do I want to click it? It's just natural behavior to want to understand that something's real.
Yeah. So, like, prime example, what we do with our sites, because you might say, well, okay, so how are you in so many different industries? How are you an expert about carpet cleaning, an expert about casinos, and an expert about finance? I'm not. I'm a marketing person that builds a website. But then what I do is that I make certain that if I'm generating leads in pensions, I'll make certain that I'm generating leads for someone that's an independent financial advisor that's accredited in doing pensions. I will not build a site unless that person will allow me to use his details, that will put his FCA license number on there, and every single piece of content that I write, he has to sign it off. Because if that content is not right, he'll get in trouble. So for us, it's hard work, because we're not just scaling AI content en masse on some of these sites. So it's like every single piece of content's got to get signed off. And there's times I'm like, oh, come on, you're being a bit picky there. He's like, no, change that wording, change that. And we just got to do what they're saying. So we're using real people that if you pick up the phone, you're speaking to a professional pension advisor, right? And then if it's a carpet cleaner, it's someone that's had their own business for a dozen years, that's works in loads of different jobs, like loads of different kind of, let's say they've worked for Marriott hotels and doing all the carpet cleaning for Marriott hotels. They've loads of pictures of them with their carpet cleaning machine, real pictures, so that when they, and not only that, is when they turn up to site, they see the same person there. It's just a good user experience. So nowadays we just, like I said, it sounds very wire and probably very boring for some, but like we just do things right. We try not to trick Google. We try to make certain there's a message match. We try to make certain that the consumer that comes to our site, if they are buying, gets exactly what they think they are buying, and they're speaking to a professional in whatever industry that it is.
Right. I want to take the conversation back in time, more onto the business side now.
Yeah.
What moment in time did you personally think, I've got something here I can scale?
So we in construction, right? So I'll give you the company where it first started is a company called Soft Surfaces Limited, right? So it's based in Wilmslow in South Manchester in Cheshire, right? And it builds playgrounds, tennis courts, netball courts, basketball courts, 3G football pitches, like rugby pitches, all like different sports and recreational and playgrounds throughout the UK. So when we first started, we only did playgrounds, and then we started to realize what we could do tennis courts. So we moved into tennis courts, then we moved into netball courts, then we moved into basketball courts. But then we realized that they wanted us to do the fencing on the tennis court, and was like, well, we don't do that. We only do the surfacing, but we can find a contractor that does it. So that when we found the contractor that does it, he was asking, could you get us more work? So then what started to happen is, and I call it shouldering niches or neighbouring niches, we then built a website out for tennis court fencing, right? Then some of them wanted floodlighting. So then we built one out for floodlighting. So we was getting them inquiries. And then what started to happen, but we was only really doing it so we got the inquiry for the tennis court as well. But sometimes then some of them just wanted fencing, and we're like, oh, you don't want a tennis court? Like, no, we just want the fencing. So at that point, I'm like, I need to monetize these in some way. So I just then started saying, look, if you can add us 200 quid on top of your job and give us a kickback on the job and you go and win it, happy days. And then we started, like, the soft services grew from, like, I think it does about 8.5 million a year now on soft services. And we don't really want to grow it much more than that. It's kind of a threshold of where it's at. But it was only at like 600,000 a year. So we've grown it like ridiculous amounts over the last like 13 years. We've more than 10x'd it. But then we started to realize we're making more money on selling the leads, like for tennis court fencing, for floodlighting, for landscaping, for tarmac surfacing. And then it kind of led on to people saying, oh, can you do car parks? Can you do the markings on the car parks? Can you do roadways? Can you do the markings on the roadways? Can you do, and it just led on then to like being like, from there then anything that a school was asking, because we mainly deal with schools and colleges and universities, they started like, oh, do you know anyone that does roofing? Or do you know anyone that does cladding? Do you know anyone that does double glazing windows? So we just started evolving from there. The model of the lead generation and what we was earning, we was like, if we could generate roofers leads, but then when they went into the school, they tried to promote us for a playground, happy days. And they was trying to get ins just to get into the schools. But then we started to realize, actually, we're making quite a lot just on these roofing leads. So what else is it that you do? And a roofer might come to us going, we do flat roofing. You go, right, okay, let's build a site for flat roofing. We do biodiverse roofing. We do heritage roofing. We do slate roofing. We do pitched roofing. We're like, bloody, I didn't even realize how many different types of roofing kind of leads that you can generate. So that's how it evolved. And we never set out to do it. It just evolved that way, if that makes sense. So what I would recommend if someone wants to get into the lead generation market, stay close to what you do. So let's say yourself, like you're doing SEO and you want to do a full package SEO, maybe get into doing content writing and if needs be link building, or doing digital PR, or doing other things that all kind of circle around what SEO is. And when you get those leads, it could revolve back to being SEO. Do you know what I mean? Or it could be that someone wants Facebook ads and you go, why do you want Facebook ads? Well, I want to grow my online presence. Well, you should put some budget to SEO. So for you ranking for Facebook ads, could you get you SEO work and stuff like that? So that's kind of how it evolved. And then from there, then the lead generation overtook what the construction does. And now I only spend like maybe 1-2 hours a month in the soft services side. We've got great staff in there now, and they're able to maintain where it's at, which is, like I said, 8 to 9 million a year, which is good.
It certainly is. Now, just hearing you there, some of the industries or super niches you're in, like that sort of stuff, you can't find from the generic SEO keyword tools. So no. How did you come up with that particular thing?
So let's say the roofing, for example, you create a roofing site and you just go, oh yeah, I do roofing leads. But then when they start digging deeper into it, you start realizing that, like, it's like someone says to you, you do SEO, but actually if you open the book of what SEO is, there's a million different things within SEO of what you can do. Like, well, what do you mean? Do you build websites? Do you do the silo structure? Do you do do you write the content? Do you do the links? So like, when you uncover something, when I just thought roofing was roofing, and then you start to uncover it and you're like, wow, there's so many different elements. And like a good example was one where we had a plumber, right? And he was paying us about, I think it was about £800 a month or something like that. It might have been £500 a month. And then one month he comes along and he gives us like a few grand. And he was like, oh, what's that for? And he said, oh, we just done a wet room. I'm like, I didn't even know you did wet rooms. He's like, yeah, of course we do wet rooms. He says, wet rooms are way better than shower rooms. So I was like, why? He says, because generally speaking, a shower room is what you have in a house. A wet room is what commercial like gyms and stuff have. And gyms and commercial properties are willing to pay more money. So I was like, you've never told me this before. And his response was, you've never asked. I'm like, I've asked for all the keywords. He went, yeah, I didn't think about wet rooms. I'm like, you just told me it's a really profitable product. But then when it goes even like one step further, like when you start realizing not every wet room supplier can do disabled wet rooms because the DDA compliance, like the door needs to be a little bit wider and you need the pull cord. So you need an electrician to come and put the pull cord in and stuff like that. So then when you can start going down the route of plumber to like wet rooms to being disabled wet rooms, you're going really micro niche. But there's good money there. And yes, Ahrefs and SEMrush or your generic kind of keyword tools can't find you that information. And that's where you do need to speak to the client and you do need to understand what it is that makes you the money. And from one company to the next, like a boiler company, you speak to one boiler company and they might be obsessed with just doing new boilers, new boiler. But actually, this company over here might make more profit by just repairing and servicing existing boilers. And it's knowing how their business model is set up to see what works better. Is it replacing a new boilers or is it repairs and servicing? Now, obviously, both could make money, but one's normally set up to do one and one's normally set up to do the other. Because these are driven to be like, we charge a lot because we might do 24/7 call outs. So you've got to have staff that's on call at 2 o'clock in the morning that if a boiler's broken, someone wants to ring them, they're going to send engineers out. So yes, you're right in what you're saying. Like the traditional keyword research can't be done for stuff like this. You've just got to be savvy and good at business and understanding what elements is it that they make the money on.
So as far as your business model is concerned, why did you move from generating and selling leads over to what you call rent and rank model?
So some still do lead generation, right? But my issue is when you scale a business as big as what it is now, right? And this is no disrespect to anyone who's listening that's a client or a customer, right? Generally speaking, clients and customers are nightmares, right? They want to know not only what you're doing, but why you're doing it and how you're doing it, right? They want to know like everything, right? And the minute they're paying for a lead, right, they feel like they employ you, right? So what they start doing is they start ringing you up. Every single lead that comes through, if they don't answer, hi James, I just had a lead there from Clive and he didn't answer, so I'm not paying for it, and put the phone down. And it's a time zap of your sales stuff. Hi James, you all right? I just had a lead and it says Donald Duck, I'm not paying for it. Oh, I've just had a lead and it says Mickey Mouse, I'm not paying for it. Because online, sometimes you get fake leads. So you're having to put a management system in place for you can't just charge per lead. It's got to be per lead that's like they're happy to pay for. But having that structure put in place can be a nightmare because then some of them go, well, I spoke to these for 15 seconds, but they weren't interested. And then it's an argument. Should they pay? Should they not pay? And it's like, do you know what? It's easier at times to get to a point where they've worked with you for a while. And normally, for being honest, if let's say they was paying £3,000 a month on leads from us, we'll make it that it's in their interest to say, let's just do £2,000 a month as a rank and rent. So it's cheaper for them, but I don't need my staff management like checking every single lead, listening to the calls to see whether it was a qualified lead or it wasn't a qualified lead, having those arguments. And then you don't speak to them that much. They're really happy with what's happening. We're happy with it. And actually, it's predictable monthly recurring revenue for a business, which is key, which then allows us to know how much we can spend to keep growing that site, because we know we're earning £2,000 a month. But if it's earning £3,000 a month and then 200 quid, then 4 grand, then 100 quid, it's difficult to manage because you don't know what cash flow you're going to be getting in. And cash flow is king for a business. So when we can have a predictable kind of workflow of what we're getting in, that's why sometimes we change it over to a rank and rent model. Not all the time, but majority of the time we do. And the clients love it. And then we love it because we don't need to manage it as much.
Have you never thought about approaching the percentage of sale value?
So we normally start by doing that. But the only issue you've got with that, Mark, again, is you 100% have got to trust the client, because that client could do a conservatory, right? And he could charge it out at 12 grand. How do I know what their expenses are for that £12,000? So yes, you could, but then they could turn around and go, we only made 500 quid on that job, so I'm only going to pay you, if it's 50% of their profit, 250 quid. Where realistically, they might have made 3 grand and could have paid you 1,500 quid. So they're always trying to, it sounds daft, this, but a lot of people, humans are kind of, within business, they want to feel like they've got a deal. So every time they've converted a job, they want to try and chip you down that little bit, right? And I don't like that model, because, again, there's more conversations to be had with the client all the time. That how much we're going to get paid, we don't know. Have they converted it? We don't know. Like, it just becomes a hassle. It's for some clients it works well. Normally, when we first start with the client, we'll do it on that kind of model, because it's a no-brainer for the client, because they don't pay for the website, they don't pay for the content, they don't pay for the leads. All what they pay for is like a commission to us when they've converted a job and been paid. So it's great for them, but for us, in time, we'd prefer to move to a pay-per-lead model, or ideally in time to a rank and rent.
Wow. For somebody that's just getting into the game and think, right, they either want to do affiliate marketing or lead generation or rank and rent or whatever it is, what should they be thinking about initially?
First and foremost, they need to be good at SEO, because if they're not good at SEO, it doesn't matter whether you do SEO, affiliate, display ads, or rank and rent or lead generation. If you're not good at SEO, you're not going to rank. So there's no such thing as a not rank and rent model, because no one's going to rent a not rank site, if you get what I mean. So I would recommend, and I hate it when people say, fake it before you make it, because that's just scamming people. So people go, oh, go and be an SEO and fake it before you make it. Go and win some clients and charge them £1,000 a month and just use their money to see and learn on the job. And I'm like, no, like I think SEO should be bloody legislated. I think it should have regulations in place. I don't know how they do that, but this whole fake it before you make it, it's just pathetic in my opinion. So I would recommend someone to go and get a job within an agency and go and learn how you rank sites, like that are already an established company, or don't do SEO until you've got some money, right? Go and work like 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you really want to learn it, go and work stacking shelves and save up money and go and buy some courses. Do you know what I mean? Go and speak to yourself. Go and get a consultation call with you and sit down for an hour, and they'll learn more by doing that in that 1 hour. And it might cost 500 quid or whatever you are for a consultation call. Go and get a consultation call with you who knows what they're doing, and then try and start implementing it. Implement it on your own site. And then in 2-3 months' time, jump on another consultation call with you. And then see what you've done wrong and learn from it and go again. But you've got to be safe. You can't do it with no money. You can write content in your own time and stuff like that, but you still need to be doing directories, or you need to be doing you need to be hosting your site and stuff like that. So there's certain things that you need to pay. It's not a freebie. So you might need to have a job. And in my opinion, I always say, don't leave a full-time job until you're earning double what you're earning in your full-time job in SEO, because you could quickly halve what you're earning in SEO overnight with an algorithm update. So it's not easy for people to do. Some people are, can you train me up on what you do? I'm like, it'll take you 10 years. And do you know what I mean? Like, it's difficult. There's so many different nuances from niche to niche and what works and what doesn't work. It's not easy. People think that, oh, I've just been working 9 till 5, 4 days a week, and I've got a laptop lifestyle or 4-hour work week and stuff like that. I'm like, no, for 6-7 years, I work 12 hours, 14 hours a day for 7 days a week. Before I've got kids now, so my life's a little bit different. But back then, I don't think anyone would beat me on a work treadmill. I easily do like 90 hours a week. So all these people that are doing 35, 40 hours a week, well, you can't just say you want to be where I am, but not put the time and the effort in. It's like saying I want to be a bodybuilder, but then not going to the gym. Do you know what I mean? It's hard. It's hard work. Some people want me to say there's a magic pill that you can have, or there's a push button you can do. No, it's difficult. Like, go and learn it. Go and do some courses. Go and speak to yourself on a consultation call, and then start doing it and learn along the way of what you're doing. Start off like in easy niches. So if you're doing lead generation, if I was like, let's say yourself, right, doing lead generation, you might go, I'm going to go and find 5 local companies in Preston, and I'm just going to do lead generation in Preston, and that's it. I'm not going to try Manchester or Newcastle or London or bigger areas. I'm going to just do Charlie and Preston, and that's it, right? And I'm going to be an expert at lead generation in Charlie and Preston. And do you know what? You could probably build up to 10 grand a month in certain industries, just in Charlie and Preston, in 10 different niches, and you're onto a winner then. But don't think too big. Just take baby steps. And yeah, it's hard, but then just maybe do like what yourself does, where you go into like local meetups. It could be like a local WordPress meetup. It could be a local, like you came to Search Birmingham. You're consistent. You're at the top of your game, and you're doing consultation calls for people, but you're still going to all these events and learning every day, because you understand that every day is a school day. So you're still trying to elevate yourself and be the better person that you can be. So all these others need to do that as well. They can't just sit down and learn from you, because in 2 months' time, you might have learned more things that you could have educated them on. And they've just got to get up and network and develop that way, in my opinion. What's your thoughts? What would you tell someone who's first starting out? Would you be any different to what I've said?
Well, there's two things I personally found when I've talked to people. One, they need to be realistic about their own skills, and a lot of time they're not.
Yeah.
When you're asked certain questions, they're not. And two is, I always ask them, before you jump ship, if you never earned a penny from doing what you want to do, how long could you sustain your life?
Yeah.
Them are the 2 questions that I always ask that determine whether they are ready or not. And so for me, it's more about them being honest with themselves. And a lot of time, I've spoke to a lot of people, and they just can't be asked. Even if I give them a blueprint of exactly how to print money, they say, oh, well, I can't because I need to watch Coronation Street tonight. So I think on that side, but well, the time is absolutely rocked on, and it's been such an interesting chat. But I do want to ask, is there anything that you feel that you need to get out there, or the audience need to know, that we haven't covered yet?
Just that it is a little bit harder than what people think. So when people are first, some people have been watching some of my podcasts and they've been going, I want to do what you do. And it's not easy. People are trying to jump ship now from affiliate to do rank and rents, thinking it's going to be easier. It's not easy. You still need a sales team to deal with the clients. Nothing's easy. Keep networking. I'd say the biggest thing that people need to kind of work on within themselves is you're going to fail, and you're going to fail miserably at times. How quickly can you recover without feeling sorry for yourself? Because it's going to happen, and there's going to be another algorithm update probably start December, because there normally is, and people are going to get hit. How quickly can you bounce back from them failures? They're the best like attributes to have. So if you can work on that yourself, you're going to progress, right? All the rest of the learning and stuff like that will come to you if you get that bounce back ability. And that bounce back ability, I think, is key. And you need to keep working on it, because every day is a school day. It's a never-ending industry. It's always moving all the time. And that's the only thing I'd like to get out. Like, it's not all sunshines and rainbows, as so to say.
Right. And on that note, where can people find you, and what sort of conversations would you like to have with people?
I'm open for all positive conversations. I hate the negativity within certain people. I want it always to try and be a positive kind of conversation. I've got jamesdooley.com, which on there will show a little bit about what I've done, and it's got all my social media profiles on there. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm starting being a little bit more active on YouTube as well now. I'm trying to build out a personal brand now. Not a massive one, but just I feel with the kind of advancements of AI, I feel like a personal brand is needed online. So I'm trying to now get my name out of there a little bit more, trying to elevate others and help others along the way as best I can, and enjoy the journey as well.
Well, James, on that note, many, many thanks for joining me.
Thanks a lot, Mark.